Welcome back, my friends. Today I want to pose a question. What is our incentive to be nice to people? Or what is our incentive to do the right thing? And this ties into my previous video about motivation, which I got a little off track on and didn't really cover the main topics of motivation. But I think I covered it as much as I could off the cuff. Topics about what motivates us to do things and why are we motivated to do something that won't make us money when we should be working. Or instead of, cleaning up a mess, we're over here tinkering or building something just for fun. The motivation is there. It's just not in a place that brings us income. And that's usually the issue with motivation. But when it comes to income, what is our incentive to do the right thing at, let's say, our career? To not rip people off. Now, there are plenty of people out there who, as a matter of fact within their business, lying to people is considered to be just a normal part of business. And to them, they will justify it because the ends justify the means. And I was thinking about this as I'm almost too honest when it comes to business. I'll always undercharge myself because I never want anybody to feel like I'm trying to short them. It's a feeling that I don't like and that I would never like to, impose on anyone else. And it got me thinking, it's the old nice guys finish last adage, and it's true. I mean, the nicer you are, generally, the more people are willing to take advantage of you. And that's why I also have to set boundaries. So I consider myself a nice person, but I also set many boundaries with people, and they know where I stand on issues. And I'm not easy to take advantage of. And I don't really have anything to gain taking advantage of me. I'm not rich, so, nobody's going to get money, and therefore I know that my friends are my real friends. And that comes along with a discussion I had about wealth and rich people not knowing who their real friends are. But that's for another time. Today, specifically, I wanted to talk about the motivation incentive, the aspect of motivation, the incentive that makes us want to be a nice person. Or, as this little video I ran across the other day, said there are two types of people in the world, good and bad people. It depends on whether you return your shopping cart after you're done shopping. And I thought about this. It's so funny because even in that situation, 99% of the time I return my cart. But there have been circumstances where I didn't. Very rarely. But it got me thinking about the exception to the rule. That there are no absolutes in anything, especially when it comes to values and morals. And the best example I always think of is murder. Now, murder can be justified if it's considered to be self-defense. There are people out there who say they would never harm another human being. However, if someone broke into your home, or if you decided to go to battle, some people may consider that the same thing. So in other words, if somebody's breaking into your home and trying to harm you, you have the right to defend yourself. However, if you join a military and you go overseas and you willingly sign up to join the military so you can go over and try to, quote, defend the U.S. and you shoot someone on their land, it's murder. And that's my opinion. And this isn't an offense to soldiers or the military. I understand that a country needs a military, but the fact is, most soldiers know that if you're killing people in their own land, that is indeed murder. There's no way around it. And yet it's justified in the fog of war. And I apply this as an extreme example that can be put into, say, the oil baron who's willing to overrun a government so he can get, his shares, a few billion more dollars. Or what happened down in South America with the banana trade, where an American from Texas came down because they were trying to nationalize their banana crop. So he came down with the military and took over. I don't recall which country it was, but this is the way of the world. These things happen, and people still think that they're good people. The ends justify the means. Their incentive, their motivation is money. So let's take money off the table, okay? And let's completely remove the idea of we've all been hoodwinked into thinking money is the be-all, end-all. It's obviously not. It's not going to bring you joy just to have money. It may be temporal, and you may get something off of it, but the point is the life goal should not be money. Your incentive for motivation should not be money itself. However, there are phases and times when it is necessary to have that motivation. I'm just talking about a life goal. If your life goal is to make as much money as possible, I think you're missing out on a lot. But to each their own. And everybody has their own ideas of what it means to live. I'm not here telling others that they shouldn't, but in thinking about incentives, to get back to the point here, what is the incentive to be a good person? And that's a very subjective term, good person. I don't know what being a good person is except for in my own subjective view. And that's going to be circumstantial. All my ideals and theories about life are anecdotal. They're based on my own experiences, and that's all I can go by. So what's considered to be acceptable in one place may be completely unacceptable in another place. What one person considers to be good values and moral judgment, another may consider to be horrendous. And often this comes down to religion, and I don't want to touch on that, but I think that it is important because for a lot, their incentive is not anything in this life. Their incentive is the next life. And when we get into that discussion, the most absurd thing to me is not that atheists argue with religious folks. I mean, that's dumb enough. Because ultimately, whatever you can hold on to that works for you, and I understand that the atheists think that religion is damaging to society because it's lying to the kids, right? Lying to the adults. While the religious think that the atheists are going to be suffering in hell, and so there's this constant, butting of heads when really those things don't matter to our daily life. All that matter are really not your motivation as far as religion, but your motivation as far as values. Are you a good person? Are you kind? But it's even worse when it's an argument within religions themselves. Not just Christianity and Islam, but different sects of Christianity within their own churches even, fighting over translations and theories and ideas about what the Bible means. It seems that it's in human nature to have conflict and want specifics. But ultimately, the incentive is the same, to be a good person. A good person. Whatever that means. And the very same person who donates to the collection plate may beat their children, thinking that it's being a good parent is punishing your kids physically, right? Who can say that that's right or wrong? Can I? I don't beat my children, and I never will, but it's very difficult to put a label on behavior. But we do it based on our hearts and our minds, the things we've discovered. We know that physical abuse has long-term consequences for people's mental health. And Lucy, and we also know, I gotta get a drink of water, just a sec. So the point here is that our incentives are very dependent upon our culture and our personality. And one of the reasons why we want to be a good person, and one of our main motivations, beyond the money aspect, money isn't the good person, but why we do things, why we work, why we're motivated. It's not just about, staying alive as far as physical, it's mental as well. And so one of our motivations is that we value opinions of other people. And if our peers disagree with what we're doing, if they think that we're a bad person, we want to remedy that. Because our community, our family, and our friends are the most important things to us. And we want companions that are trustworthy. And in order to have that, we have to be trustworthy. Because life is complicated. And having people that you love and people that you trust is crucial to living a happy life, in my opinion. But here's the problem. If there is no incentive, then people go for negative attention. Now, this is kind of the point I wanted to make. Most of us do the right thing, whether it's right or wrong, because we think it's the right thing to do. In other words, don't harm other people. Don't berate or insult other people. Don't make people feel bad, physically or mentally. That's one of the kind of the basic rules to life. But some people do it. Some people do it purposefully. Some people are hurtful. And the reason they do that is to get attention. And so it's very hard to point the finger at them and say they're bad people. Their motivation is the same as ours. It's not about trying to harm other people. It's about getting attention and being recognized. A lot of people just don't feel worthy. And here's the thing. If you just throw them in, let's just use the prison for an example. People go into prison, they do their time, they get out, and they're treated still like the term ex-con, meaning, yeah, you got busted and now your life's going to be difficult. You can't find a job, and they've done their time, they've done their thinking, and it's very, but not all have. Some people, since they can't get positive reinforcement when they leave prison, they end up going back to their negative ways because that's how they know to function. So the point I'm trying to make, in essence, is that treating each other with respect, giving each other second chances, giving each other a kind word when we need it, even a simple compliment. My wife's told me the other day, she was reading something about men, and a guy was telling a story about how somebody gave him a compliment that he looked nice, some cashier like a decade or two before that, and he remembered it, and how she didn't realize that it was so important that people are recognized. I know it's hard to give compliments sometimes, and they come across as cheesy. I know that I'm the worst at it, even if I want to give a compliment, and I always feel like it's going to be taken, I don't know, weirdly by the response. People don't want to be complimented sometimes, but ultimately, my incentive for that is to make everyone feel good about themselves. I want all of us to feel good about who we are. You know, I don't want to live in a world where people hate entire other cultures and groups of people. I don't want to live in a world where we're fighting over whose religion is correct. I don't want to live in a world where, well, I should say, I do want to live in all these worlds. It's just that I'd prefer it if it wasn't that way. No matter how bad things get, no matter how horrendous some people are, I know that a majority of people are good, kind souls, and they treat each other with respect. And their motivation is nothing more than kindness. There are plenty of people who their motivation to start a charity is to make money. And then there are other people who start a charity out of the kindness of their heart. They start making money, and then they make it about money later. Money is a huge tie-up in these things. It makes us question our motivation sometimes. But ultimately, the truly important things in life have absolutely nothing to do with money. We do things for the right reason, not so others will give us more, but so we can give more to others. Right, Lucy? Right, girl? Hi, baby. Yeah, Lucy agrees. So with that, I bid you farewell. Thanks for coming along on my thought journey for the moment. And, hi, Lucy. Gonna go to the park or something? Oh, yeah, she says. She'd love to. Say hi, Luce. Come here. Hi. Lucy loves people. Dogs are completely innocent and can do no wrong. That's right. We bid you farewell. And hopefully this shed a little bit of light on at least one thing. Something. My intention is just to live in a world and to try to improve other people's world so we can all live just a little bit happier, you know? Whatever. Latro.